One hallmark of writing good code is ensuring an app does not crash due to a runtime error. Many programming languages, Python included, have keywords we can use to attempt to run code, control the error message displayed if the code would otherwise cause a crash, and then run certain logic depending upon whether the original intent to run code worked. The concept of controlling errors in their messages is known as exception handling. To start this exception handling process, we have a project in this 521 try file, where, on line 1, we have a list of figuratives for language, 5 to be exact. And then on line 3, we have code to get someone to input a number from 1 to 5 to get further information on one of the 5 figuratives. On line 6, I have a formatted print statement to print the figurative someone requested. On line 4, we assign the number to the index value of whatever figurative was chosen. Why the -1? Remember that lists are zero-based. So these 5 figuratives have an index of 0 through 4. Asking someone to type that in could confuse one trying to run the app. Thus, we can have one enter a number 1 through 5, and then subtract 1 from that entry to fit the parameters of our zero-based list. I will run the code and enter a legitimate number. That code works as expected. Next, I will rerun the code and enter a bad value. The result returns an index out of range error, known as an index error, as the number we submitted is out of the range of items in the list. While that error message is descriptive, it will not make sense to most, hence the need to control an error message. In this case, the first step in exception handling is to add a try block to the code we are trying to run, lines 3 and 4. On line 2, I will type try and a colon, and then indent lines 3 and 4, so that they sit in this try block. A try block cannot run by itself, so we will not run the code here. It's important to note that a try block usually has at least an except block to catch exceptions, and often includes a finally block to execute code regardless of whether an exception occurs. Sometimes it also includes an else block. However, a try block cannot run without at least a finally or except block accompanying it. The try block tells the app to run a code block, hopefully without errors. In the following 2 topics, we will see how to account for an error within the try block and when the code in a try block causes no errors. Continuing our quest for solid error handling. Whereas a try statement attempts to run code, the except statement runs code if the code being run in the try statement causes a runtime error. Continuing from the previous video, I have added to this 522 except file, which shows a list of figuratives for a language, an except block on lines 5 and 6. Within the except block, we see a print statement telling the person running this app to try again by entering a number for a figurative. We did not try to run the code in the previous video because a try block will not run without an except block, as we have now, or a finally block, which we will see in an upcoming topic. I will run this code and enter a legitimate value. There was no output, as we will add the code for that in the next video, but there was no error, which is what we anticipated. I will rerun the code and enter an illegitimate value, and this time we get the error message that says we did not enter a figurative, so the except block worked. In other words, this message looks a lot better than this message. Before we proceed, let's take a moment to remind ourselves what an exception is in Python. An exception is an event that disrupts the normal flow of a program, often due to some kind of error or exceptional condition. Exceptions are types of runtime errors, but they can be handled gracefully using mechanisms like try, except, finally, and else blocks, allowing the program to continue or terminate in a controlled way. Again, the purpose of an except block is to handle an exception gracefully and control the message given when a runtime error occurs, perhaps even to provide instructions what to do to avoid the error in the future, as we have here with instructions in the except block. Not all try block code causes an error. Hopefully, errors are rare. We have seen how an except statement runs code if a try block were to cause a runtime error. But what if we want code to run if the try block can run without error? What if, for example, someone enters a legitimate value for a game piece and no errors occur? For that situation, we want an else statement. Continuing the figurative language example we started earlier in this section, we successfully tested the try code. We raised an error if someone entered an invalid value for the range of figuratives. To continue building this code, I have added an else block to this 523 else file on lines 7 and 8 and moved the print statement to confirm the choice made to that block. Else runs if the try is successful. While else is not required, we have seen that although the else block is optional, including it can be useful. Without it, the code in the try block would execute if no exceptions occur, but we would have no way to easily specify additional actions to take specifically when the try block is successful. I will run this code and enter a number from 1 through 5. The code works, and we get a matching figurative. I will run the code again and enter a bad value. And as expected, we get the exception message. To recap what we have learned so far in this section, a try block tries to run code without an error. If an error occurs, the except block runs. If no errors occur, the else block runs. We need an except block for an else block to work. Within a block of code for catching errors, you may want some code to run no matter the outcome of the try portion of the code. The except block executes when an error occurs, preventing a crash. Else runs if there are no exceptions to code, meaning no errors were caught by the except block. The finally block is a code block that runs whether the try portion of a code block worked or did not. I have the code example from the previous topic open in a new file version, the 524 finally file. In this file, I will add a finally block that thanks the game player for playing. I will start this on line 9 with the word finally and then a colon. Then I will make sure I am indented on the following line and add a print statement to thank the player for playing. Then I will run this code twice. The first time I run it, I will enter a legitimate value. And we see the try, else, and finally blocks all ran. Next, I will run this code and enter an illegitimate value. And we get the except clause, but we also get the thank you message. In this case, the try, except, and finally blocks ran. As we get ready to move to the next piece of exception handling, raises, know this about the try block. First, it cannot run by itself. Secondly, a try block must have an except clause or a finally clause, or the code will fail. An else clause is not always needed, though normally one would want an else clause to continue running code if the try block does not cause an exception, unless the subsequent code to run needs to happen after the finally block. The whole goal with the try, except, else, and finally blocks is to control error messages as they happen, and allow an app to end gracefully, rather than have a hard crash take place, which, when occurring too many times, may dissuade people from wanting to use an app. To summarize exception handling, this chart helps us understand an important nuance with runtime errors. It's essential to understand the run flow and interactions between try, except, else, and finally blocks. If an error is raised within an except, else, or finally block, this error will not be caught by the same except block. Rather, it will turn into a runtime error. Before that happens, if a finally block exists, the finally block will always execute. For instance, if there's a runtime error in the except block, that block will halt at the error. Python will then look for a finally block. If found, the finally block will execute, followed by the raising of the unhandled exception. There are situations in programming where one wants to raise specific types of errors, given a specific situation for an error, such as for dividing by 0 or when a value out of range is entered when getting input from someone. For those situations, the raise keyword raises either a type of error supported in Python or a custom error. Let's look at a simple code example asking for input for the Fahrenheit temperature for absolute 0, which is minus 459.67 degrees Fahrenheit. That code is in this 525 raise file. To focus on the raise error, this code does not run through guesses until the person guesses correctly. But if a person tries to enter a positive number in the input statement on line 1, which converts the input to a floating decimal, the raise statement on line 3 runs. The raise statement raises a value error, one of many built-in error types in Python. Why raise an error rather than correct the player? If game activity is being logged, and this app is being tested, one may be writing results to a log, and raising errors is one way to spot unwanted responses within an app, and then address fixes for those responses. I will run the code and enter a positive number on purpose. Sure enough, the error is raised. If I rerun the code and enter a negative result, I get the print statement from line 5. Again, raising errors allows a developer to control the type of error to raise and log the error if necessary. It's time for another code analysis example. For this analysis, we will use this 525 analyze code file. Use this code file to answer the questions in the Review 5.2 exercise in the project workbook. In the next video, we will review and discuss the answers. One key to knowing how a try block functions is understanding which other blocks run based on what happens in the try block. For starters, the try block will return a divide by 0 error because games is set to 0, and one cannot divide by 0. For this reason, the except block runs, as a runtime error has occurred. The else block runs if the try block produces no errors, so it will not run in this case. Lastly, the finally block runs regardless of what the try block produces. Thus, the try, except, and finally blocks run in this case, and I will run this code to prove this point. The second question asked, what would happen if we changed the games variable to 2? This time, the try block does not produce an error, so the except block does not run, but the else block does run, as it will always run when the code in the try block does not produce any errors. And the finally block, again, runs regardless of the try block results. Thus, in the second example of this code, the try, else, and finally blocks run. And I will run this code to prove those results. One final note. While the try block's main aim is to run code that might raise an exception, it doesn't return an error. Rather, it raises an error or allows one to be propagated. So you might want to use raises instead of returns when talking about errors emerging from a try block for clarity.